A great friend of mine who also watches these videos like you do sent me a message yesterday thanking me for repeating a common theme. And even though he'd heard a message similar to what he heard a couple times prior, something triggered within him that allowed him to take action, and then that action that he took has allowed him to have several breakthroughs personally and professionally that will pay huge dividends for him, his family, and his clients moving forward. So that reminded me, in preparing for today's video on the walk here to the pool area, what is the most important thing that I could share that has been beneficial and impactful to my life, especially recently, where I feel I'm in the most productive phase of my life that I've ever been in. And I've been very productive in many different periods of my life. And the one key that I could attribute much of this productivity and much of this just massive action that I'm taking goes back to something that I learned from who I'm working with here in Florida, Rich Sheffrin. And it's something Rich has been applying and using for over 20 years. And that's a daily journal. And not just sitting down like you may envision a journal where you write down all the things that you did during the day at the end of a day or something like that. Nothing like that. This is more of an ongoing conversation with yourself in a yellow legal pad, for instance, or a white legal pad. It doesn't have to be something that's structured or something that you have a box around. This is just whatever it takes for you to think through your day, think through some obstacles, think through some constraints, personally and professionally. Ask yourself questions. The way that I can relate my journaling the past few months that's allowed me to just be super productive and super focused and super on purpose is that conversation with myself. My journal is a conversation with me and helps me speak to myself, ask and answer questions that had I not taken the time to write out, it's just easy to go from one thing to the next, putting out one fire to the next, or one activity to the next. And it's a habit, just like brushing your teeth. Hopefully you do that at least, in the morning and evening. Hopefully that's a good habit. This becomes a habit that happens on a regular basis throughout the day. So every couple of hours, sometimes sooner, I'll sit down and jot down just a recap of what's happening, what I want to happen, and some actions that I can take to help me facilitate that. And it's just also a way to jot down to-dos, and it's just a whole interactivity with myself that has allowed me to be super productive. And it goes also along with sort of that getting things done thing, where it's hard for our mind, it's hard for us to keep remembering all these certain things. So when a to-do pops in, or I need to make a phone call, or I need to send an email, or I need to check this or do that, versus keeping in my mind, just jotting it down. Now obviously here we are in this technological age. I use a combination of this iPhone 4, which I'm using here to record this video, and my yellow legal pad. And between those two resources, it allows me to empty my brain, make sure that I don't try to remember what I'm supposed to do. I input calendar events into my phone here, which alerts me, two alerts. It gives me like a 1 hour alert and a 5-minute alert generally for important things, and or a 1 hour alert and a 30-minute alert if it requires some travel or anything like that. So it frees my mind up to remain productive and remain focused on some questions that I've posed in my journal. And one of the important things that Rich describes in his Hidden Obstacles to Your Success report are things called sentence stems. So for instance, on the walk here, I did a sentence stem in my head. What is the most valuable insight that I could provide today? And that's the question that I posed. The sentence stem is, the most valuable asset I can provide in today's video is, and then that's assuming you know several. So it's not a question, it's actually you pose that sentence and your mind comes up with fill-in-the-blank answers to that sentence stem. So I thought of several things, and the most important thing that has impacted my life and made a huge shift that is going to produce tremendous dividends for me, my family, my clients down the road is journaling. I've mentioned it a couple times, and thanks to my good friend for reminding me that repetition is key. So you may have heard this in one or two other videos, but here it is again. And the reason you're hearing it again, because it is that important. If you walk away from any of these videos that I've done and you take away this one step of journaling, that in and of itself, will be a success. You will be recognizing the benefits that I'm recognizing now. And Rich goes into great detail of how he journals. He actually shows pages of his journal. Now, he is a master of it. He's been doing it 20 years. I'm fairly a rookie. I've only been doing it a few months consistently. Yeah, I did it back in the day where I just pretty much outlined my daily activities. This is more of a conversation with myself. So another thing that I've mentioned several times is the impact that report has had on me. If you haven't got your hands on that report yet, go do so now. Can't say anything. I can't recommend anything higher than Rich's Hidden Obstacles to Your Success report, where he goes into great detail of how he has allowed journaling to just dramatically impact his life and the lives of his thousands and thousands of clients throughout the world. So with that, begin journaling, go get the hidden obstacles to your success, and make today great.